to operate within the city and other measures proposed for the safety and public health of the city of Isle Palms. Our legal counsel is on the way here, but we can start with general discussions before we go too far. Do I y'all wanna kind of talk about it a little bit? I don't wanna make any kind of legal motions without seeking legal counsel first. Are we? Discussions.
Quick question, do we have council member Smith?
She is connected via phone.
Okay.
She's dialed in.
And so any questions, when we do this, we will also ask for Susan to chime in, so nobody is left out. So, questions before we go too far? But I really, on our behalf, to not go too far at this point until we seek legal counsel. There's a lot of questions out there, and I just don't wanna take the wrong step or direction and have to backtrack.
Can we not go into executive session and just wait, if that's the course of action, and wait for Julia's arrival?
Why do we need to go into executive session without Julia?
He's talking about limiting discussion until we have an attorney present to go into executive session. So I'm just asking the question, if we don't choose to have public discussion first, there's probably nothing limiting us from going into executive session at this point.
I think, Desiree, we can go forward with the discussion, can we not?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, talk about it. We've got all kinds of things. We've had the governor, tweet that limiting, rentals from 2 to, and self-quarantining for 14 days upon their arrival. This is not a mandate, it's a suggestion right now. Do y'all wanna discuss that?
You know,
Yes, sir.
it's, I mean, that, while not a mandate, it's consistent with what other states are doing. I mean, the governor of Florida has requested, and I don't know how you be specific about which states people come from. We've had a lot of emails to that effect. But the governor of Florida has said people coming from New York to quarantine for 14 days. Right, so, you know, the reality is, and I think we discussed it at the last meeting, the reality is every statistic that you read that's consistent is we're still in the acceleration phase of the curve, which is the highest risk portion for rapid growth before we begin to flatten that curve. So that, whether it's 2 weeks quarantine, whether it's a combination of events, social distancing, limiting the number of people, that's your time frame in all likelihood for some positive impact, might have an impact.
Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to also point out that the White House itself has asked that anyone from the state of New York doing any traveling to voluntarily quarantine as well. And that may include New Jersey and Connecticut, as far as I know. Obviously anyone traveling from the upper Northeast where the coronavirus is more prevalent, that's being asked. I'd also like to point out, I saw earlier this afternoon where a couple of senators, state senators, had requested or sent a note to Governor McMaster asking him to follow the same sort of process that City of Charleston did yesterday evening. In other words, sequester in place. He hasn't done that yet, obviously, but we might see something like that forthcoming as well.
Councilmember Smith, do you have any questions? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I just got into mute and now I'm out of it. Yeah, I mean, I find the governor's order confusing and not necessarily helpful by the wording of it. By telling people that if they're coming for 2 days, they have to quarantine for 14 days. I mean, what about a person who's just here for, I don't think it's helpful. And I don't think that somebody who is supposed to be quarantining should be traveling at all. So there's that. I have concerns about short-term rentals. I feel like I'd like to know more about the legal aspects of restricting them. Before we really have a long conversation, because that will color my decision-making.
Thank you. I think that's probably where we're headed in the next step here. Do I hear a motion? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss the agenda before us and seek legal advice.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to go into executive session to seek legal advice concerning our emergency order 2020-02. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. We're going into